Yes, I'm going to go over 5 beginner gym mistakes that you need to avoid. These 5 mistakes, you need to fix them ASAP because they cause a lot of damage. And at the end, I'm going to give you a bonus mistake that you gotta be careful and you should avoid them at all cost. And make sure to remember, before we start, take notes and apply. Let's get to number 1, having no workout plan or structure. Okay, so a lot of people don't have a lot of structure and planning at their workouts, especially when they're starting. And I was one of those guys for almost a year, maybe a little bit longer. I just didn't know what I was doing. I was just going there, I was trying some different muscles. I got some gains, but it wasn't effective. I wasted a lot of time. So do not make this mistake because I kind of messed it up and I kind of regret that time. Even though I got a decent gains, but it was just nowhere near as effective and I don't want you to waste that time. So you can do that maybe by doing a random exercise. You're just doing stupid exercises. You don't know what you're doing. You don't even know what muscle you're targeting. You have no idea. You have no clue. And your workouts are nowhere near as effective as they should be, right? And you have no specific goal, right? So a lot of people, they just go to the gym and they have no goal. They're like, oh, I want to lose maybe a little bit of fat. Maybe I want to lose a bit of weight. They're not specific, like way more specific, right? They don't know how much they want to lose. They don't want to, by what time they want to lose that. They just have no idea, okay? They don't know where they're going. So if you don't know where you're going, then how are you going to get there, right? So next one, another thing that like a lot of people get wrong about this part is they constantly change their program, right? So let's just say, for example, they're running on push-pull or something and they constantly change it, right? So you don't even understand like, oh, this program is good for me. This is not, like this works for me. This doesn't. Like they don't understand, like, bro, you got to give this program some time, or they just completely ignore it, right? They just like change it all the time or they have no structure. So don't be this guy, because I was this guy at some point. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just freestyling it and it didn't give me the best results and I wasted a lot of time, you know? Mistake number 2, you're afraid of asking questions or you're afraid of asking for help. And a lot of people are stuck in this phase. And I was one of those people, you know, like I just felt like people are judging me. I felt like I'm going to be like, you know, mocked by other people. And this is just not a good mindset to have, you know, because just because you think people judge you doesn't mean it's true, right? Like a lot of times we are so self-obsessed and we are so self-analyzing. We think like we're so important in this world of like so many millions of people. We think like everybody's looking at us, but at the end of the day, everyone is just focused on themselves, and they may even look at you for 1 second and they say, like, what is this guy doing? But they're not going to remember. They're going to forget, and they're just going to focus on the workout. So there is no point of worrying about what others people think, and instead start asking for questions. Stop asking for help and see like, oh, how can I do this? Like, and also a lot of people think they know everything, right? They may learn a little bit and they think, oh, like I know everything and I don't need to ask people, and I'm already like that guy, right? So there's always a level thing, like new levels to learn, new things to learn. And the moment you think you know everything, that's when your downfall is going to start, right? So don't be that guy who just, you know, afraid of asking questions and you think like people are going to judge you, and also you don't know everything, okay? There's always levels to these things. Another thing is like kind of like goes with the second point is you stop learning, okay? So when you stop learning, you're maybe afraid of asking questions, maybe you think you know everything, and this mistake can actually hold you a lot of time and a lot of like progress if you just keep making it, right? So stop thinking you are, you know, constantly being judged, and instead just start asking for help and questions, because a lot of the times I needed some help with form or something, or certain exercises, and whenever I asked, you know, or I seeked help from other people, they always gave me like better help and I made progress. So why not just do that, and your progress is going to be much more faster, right? So start asking questions and, you know, seek help. Number 3, this is important and this is very common. Giving up. Don't, like, trust me, I know a lot of people that they gave up. They just gave up. They weren't willing to go through the phases. They weren't willing to understand the process, and they just gave up too early. Why? They wanted the results too quickly. They think everything is achieved too quickly. Can you get some decent results in a relatively fast amount of time? Potentially, right? If you maybe take enhancing, you know, drugs or whatever, stuff like that, you know, you can maybe do that. But like naturally, it's going to take time, especially if you're a beginner, right? Like you're going to get your newbie gains decently fast, but still it's in a good amount of time frame, right? Like maybe at least 6 to like 12 months, right? Like you can see like a good amount of progress, man. You can feel like you're making some huge progress. But a lot of people don't want to wait. They're like, oh, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. And they're like, oh, what's going on? Like, I'm not doing that, right? So they're just going to get demotivated and they're going to quit. Don't be that guy. They don't want to go through the trials and the errors. Like, you're going to make a lot of trials and the errors, and at the end, you have to learn because you're a beginner, but they just don't want to go through the difficulties. And understand, when you go through those levels and stages of difficulties, a lot of people are not going to go through that. So that's a reason for you to go through that and actually make an example for others. Because a lot of people give up too quickly, man. So don't be those guys, and actually push through the difficulties and make huge progress, right? And another thing that this type of people make, another mistake that this type of people make is just ignoring. I don't know what I say, ignoring the long term, right? If you ignore the long term, you're gonna just only be focused on the short term, and you're just gonna lose everything. You don't know why you're even training, right? So if you tell yourself, okay, like in 5-10 years, if I stay consistent, what type of a person am I gonna become? What type of body I'm gonna have? What type of discipline and mindset I'm gonna have? Think about that. Really go there and understand, like, wow, I'm gonna be a man, like, crazy discipline, crazy gains. I'm feeling fit. Imagine that feeling. So why are you ignoring the long term and just constantly thinking about the short term and this 1 or 2 months? You're like, oh my God, I'm not going to make a lot of gains in the next 1 or 2 months. So imagine the next 5-10 years. Imagine if you keep making progressing and keep like getting stronger and getting leaner. Bro, you're going to make insane progress. You're going to be looking jacked because you thought about the long term, because you thought about the person you're going to be becoming like in the next couple of years. You didn't think about the next 2 months. There is a reason. A lot of people try to lose fat. They're like, oh, I'm gonna try to lose like this weight like in the next one or 2 months, and then they gain all the weight they lost. So don't be that person. Look at the long term. Sustainability and longevity. These are two key things that these people tend to ignore. And don't give up. Do not give up, man. Remember, imagine the person that you're gonna become in the next couple of years. Just remember that. Mistake number 4, ego lifting. Boy, oh boy, I see this all the time. Even with older people, like they're like 50, 60 years old, they look like they've been training for a long time, but boy, oh boy, their form is just tremendously awful, man. Number 1, why do you do this? You're trying to impress others. Why do you want to, like, bro, nobody cares about your strength, okay? Nobody cares about your strength. And you may get some validation and stuff, but at the end of the day, no one really remembers that much. You may get some like validations here and there, but it's not that big of a deal. At the end of the day, the most important thing is you make progress and you feel satisfied, right? So stop looking for satisfaction from the external world, right? I know status is important, but bro, come on, like don't be this ego lifting guy. And lifting heavier and ignoring the form, right? So another thing with the ego lifting is that you start lifting heavier and you just start ignoring the form. Why? Why do you want to ignore form? You're going to risk injuries and setbacks. That's the danger that you have to understand. A lot of people get injured. A lot of people go through the setbacks because they ignore the form and they start going crazy weights just to look cool. It's just a sad reality, but it happens every single day. Just understand that. Don't imagine like putting all that effort for 6 months, 12 months. You get injured for ego lifting and you're gone for 6 months. You cannot train. Do you want to be there? No. Obviously, you want to keep going and keep maintaining your gains, right? So the ego lifting is just not worth it. It's just not worth it, okay? Now, mistake number 5, ignoring the diet. Oh my God, there's so many people that are like, oh my God, I struggle with diet. Why? They're inconsistent and poor quality. Their nutrition is that, like they're inconsistent and poor. They don't care about their diet. They think like they can outburn their diet. That just doesn't work. I've been there, I've done it, bro. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You have to be on point. You have to, because whenever you're trying to be this new fit person who's trying to take care of their health and body, you have to be on point with their diet, and it's a lifestyle shift. It's an identity shift. I made videos in the past talking about the identity, the importance of updating your identity to become that person. But if you're just constantly ignoring these things, you're not going to become that person. And diet is a huge part of your training and your fitness lifestyle. So understand, you cannot do this. And another thing is that people don't learn about macro and micronutrients. They may know something about calories and they may know about carbs and protein. They may know about their existence, but they don't really know their definition, their purpose, their benefits, their downsides, all these things. You have to actually learn about them so you understand, oh, these things helps me. You know, micronutrients. A lot of people don't know about micronutrients, like vitamins and all those like minerals and stuff. You know, they don't really know. Or they start doing crash diets. They're like, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds in the next 3 months. They're just doing crash diets, and then suddenly their mental health goes to zero. They're like, what the heck is going on? They lose all the momentum that they built, and they start getting mental issues, and then they start overeating, and then they start getting anxious, and it's like they ruined all their progress. Don't be this guy. Don't ignore the diet, and actually get like on a sustainable diet that you feel like you can do it forever. Yes, that's how it should be. Like, it shouldn't even be called a diet, because you should be eating the similar things for almost pretty much forever, unless you have to kind of change things because of your medical condition. But most of the people don't. So have something that you can stick to for the long term. Okay. Now we're gonna go to the bonus section, and listen, this is important. You're not prioritizing your sleep quality. Okay, this is important because a lot of people have inconsistent or the lack of sleep, and this is gonna affect you in all parts of your life. Your work, your career, your health, your fitness, everything, your relationships. So you have to understand having great quality of sleep is important. And if it's poor, listen, it's going to ruin your life if you keep doing it for the long term. Your health is going to go to zero. You're going to struggle with your energy levels. You're going to overeat. And it's just going to lead to a bunch of so many unnecessary problems because you avoided this part. Like, you didn't have like good sleep, right? And how do you have that? You don't have good sleeping habits, pre-sleep habits ideally, right? So if you're eating, or if you're constantly in front of the screens, your sleep is going to be damaged. You're not going to be having optimal sleep if you're like eating like right before sleep or constantly on blue light screen just before sleeping. It's going to damage your sleep. Believe me, I've tried it and I understand. Like, listen, it's a massive difference. Both of these things can actually reduce your sleep quality massively. So you have to, just remove them, And another thing this is very underspoken about is poor mental health. A lot of people, when they have anxiety, depression, they end up their sleeping schedule is crazy. They oversleep, or they start eating like in weird time, like sleeping in weird times, and it just ruins their sleep quality in general because they keep sleeping. They have low energy levels, and then it's like a domino effect that just triggers every single bad outcome in all parts of their life, and they just cannot get out of it unless they just become aware of the situation. But if you have poor mental health, believe it or not, it's going to ruin your sleep. And you have to understand that in order to have a great mental health, you need to kind of start prioritizing having a great sleeping schedule. So it's going to actually give you a lot of good mental hormones, right? Like all those like dopamine feelings, serotonin, a lot of those things are actually because of good sleep. Or whenever you go in the mornings, you wake up in the mornings, you get some sunlight, all those things makes a huge difference. And if your mental health is not really prioritized, your sleep is going to be actually damaged too, because you're just going to be sleeping in weird times, weird schedules, potentially even weird locations. If you just keep partying and stuff, if you go to like clubs and stuff, you come home at 3, 4 a.m. just because you wanted some quick pleasure, you indulge it in drugs and alcohol and stuff, like it's going to ruin your sleep. You're just going to be coming home late, and it's not going to be the best thing for your longevity of health, and also your performance at the gym is just going to go down. So now that we went over all these five mistakes and the bonus one, I want you to, again, take notes and apply, and I want you to change your life for the better, right? Because this is the reason I'm making content, right? I don't want you to just watch it and just sit on your ass and just, this video was interesting. Yeah, let me just think about it. No, take action on it. That's the reason. I'm not spending time to actually just for you to just to watch it. Watch the content and apply, okay? Now, hopefully you enjoyed the video. I made a bunch of guides like this. Feel free to go watch it about diet, consistency, training, and a bunch of different parts of fitness and the health lifestyle. So if you like my content, feel free to like, subscribe, and listen. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.